Good afternoon, Ivetteliz. How are you today?
And getting yourself.
Very good. Thank you so much for allowing me to record this portion of our interview. We started chatting a little bit about your experience, but I would love to hear in your own words what type of work you have done that would be transferable for the litigation assistant position that you have applied for. So take it away in your own words.
In 2016, I started working for the Orange County Clerk of Court as a deputy clerk. There, I worked with the family court department, mainly with child support. I started off doing data entry, so processing the cases for the Department of Revenue, submitting them and accepting also e-filings and submitting filings as well, and reviewing filings from the Department of Revenue. There, I transitioned to work for transition on working on the child support accounts. So all the payments that would be coming in from different parties submitted to the Department of Revenue and others submitting the payment to the court. I would process those payments and do balancing on the account and audits. From there, I transitioned to working to the state. I worked in the Family Court Case Management Department for the pro se litigants. There, I was a court program specialist one. I would do everything from point A from to point B. So I would do the intake process with the pro se litigants, all the paperwork, review the paperwork, approve the paperwork. Then after that, I would actually take care of all the paperwork, reviewing any documentation submitted, doing the research. From there, I would take care of the pleadings, the orders until we got to the final judgment, scheduling the trial, and anything follow-up that would have to take place there. From there, I was promoted to be an assistant coordinator for the teen court. In that specific program, I would train volunteers, recruit volunteers, as well as make sure that the teens were compliant, so that we're going through this process. Those juveniles were compliant with the program, make sure that their community service or anything that they were sentenced to complete would be completed and that they would adhere to their sentence. I would also do drug testing there. And then after that, I took a break from the court system since I have a child and um, I was having some issues with childcare. After that, I decided to work remotely from home. I was able to get a position working for a tech company named Lytics as a business development representative. I did not state that on my resume because I wasn't there for long because I got laid off. The department that I was actually working for was removed, and they decided to no longer sell any small market products, but go from mid market and up, so that I was working for their small market. Then from there, I was able to get a position in Cigna as a patient access representative three. I did a, a lot of insurance verification, prior authorizations, also updating accounts, making sure that it was billing properly when it comes to their deductibles and any medication that was being sent out, any equipment being sent out. So mainly that was that position. Those were my duties for that
Okay.
position.
Now, you had mentioned about childcare needing to be remote. Has that changed now at
So
this point?
yeah, so my son is starting school in August, and my in-laws, one of my in-laws retires. So for the next 2 months or so, he will be watching over my son.
Okay, perfect. So you have childcare then. All right, wonderful. Can you provide a time where you had to effectively manage multiple tasks and how you did that?
Um, all of the positions that I have worked at require multitasking. It's something I'm very comfortable with.
Hmm.
Uh, I always have a notepad, even at home, everywhere. That's
Yes.
where I write everything down, make sure to have everything on a list, and that's how I, make sure that I manage everything in a timely manner and everything is done correctly. You know, that's how I operate. So I'm very comfortable with multitasking. I don't feel strange about it. It's something second nature to me.
Okay, absolutely. I get that. How do you prioritize as far as what's most important? And do you feel like you've got good flexibility to change priorities as needs arise?
Flexibility is very necessary in the workplace because every day something new happens. So sometimes you have a set schedule and things occur and you have to change certain things around. I normally prioritize by the most important and the most imperative thing at that moment in time. And then from there, I'll work everything else. So that's normally how I would set up my list. The most important thing that needs to be taken care of and that it's urgent, I would normally take care of that first to get that off my list.
Okay, great. So, in the previous roles that we've chatted about that you've had, you worked, of course, in court administration. You were interacting with clients, and how did you handle like a difficult or challenging situation? What strategies do you use?
Working in the court, there's there's many difficult situations. I think the level of stress that people have when they're coming into the court and dealing with those day-to-day situations at that point in time, you have to be very level-headed. You can't let your emotions take over you. You have to always listen first because many times behind the frustration, you will know exactly what they're asking for. They might not know at that point in time because of what's happening in their life and the way they're expressing it. But 9 times out of 10, eventually after they say whatever they have to say when they're upset, they will eventually tell you what exactly that they need. Always, reading between the lines and just listening, being a good listener and
Mm,
being respectful. That is something very necessary in this line of work because many times you will come across people that do not understand that. But, everyone deals with their situations differently. I
sure.
think if you're respectful, are a good listener, and a good communicator, you will be able to succeed in this line.
Absolutely. So, okay, we've already established, of course, that you've had phone work with some of your
Yes,
remote opportunities, litigation support with all of the positions that you've
yes,
held, decision making. Let's talk. We talked about organizational skills, multitasking. What about e-filing? Have you ever done that?
yes. I have
Okay.
in working through the clerk of court. That's where I started. That's where I learned how
Okay.
to do e-filing. So I am
Okay.
very. Um, I'm not gonna say I'm a pro, but I defend myself very well when it
Of
comes to
course.
e-filing.
And I would assume that handling confidential information is utmost with the positions that you've held in the past. So
Yes.
obviously that would be very important with this position as well. Well, I'd love to tell you a little bit more about this position and, of course, some other positions that we have. So I'm going to ask if you could just hang tight for a moment. Don't hang up because we've got a few more things to chat about.
No
Thank
problem.
you.